Hi, these are week 3 reflections.
So we decided that we were going to adapt the novel of This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. It is non-fiction and it is a diary that Adam kept while he was working in a hospital, just all the different daft stories that he got or patients he had to deal with, and it's a mix of him, how his life went from like working to a hospital to quitting and how it affected his home life as well.
So on Wednesday we learned about the 3 E's, which are educate, enlighten and entertain. So we put that to our novel that we're adapting. So for educate, we did the reality of healthcare and like how doctors really struggle in their job and how it is a really difficult job. And then for enlighten, obviously the doctors struggle to let the audience know what it's like and then how they deal with it and everything. And then entertain is we put some comedy aspects in there for comic relief because it is quite a dark piece, so we'll have some dark moments that can
lighten it up.
Make you cry, and then
make
there's
you
comedic
cry,
moments that
evoke
make you laugh.
emotion, and then there'll be laughter. Yeah, laugh through the tears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's through the pen, yeah. On Tuesday morning, we did Crazy Eights, which we had a piece of paper folded into 8 sections. What were the categories?
Inspiration, dialogue, characters, locations,
media, set, and music.
Yeah.
music.
Okay. And like in each section, we had to like write or draw. Some people drew, like Eve drew. Our inspirations was like what books we might use to adapt into stage, and then we looked at the dialogue that would happen between characters or like to the audience, the sets that we would use, all stuff like that. And we passed our papers round the group so we could star off which ideas we liked the most.
Yeah, we also, on that Tuesday afternoon, we did crime drama. No, it's
Yeah, crime
Crime
drama.
drama.
We did
Yeah.
Law and Order.
yeah, we did
Yeah.
Law and Order with it, and it was a bit hectic at first, but we started to like slowly but gradually get into it, and then once we did get through it, they all started to like flow a bit more. But because there was like a few people missing, like a few of us had to like jump into different scenes. I had to jump into a scene and I had no idea what it was about, and I had the script right in front of me, and I just looked down at it and I was like, oh no, I've got so many big paragraphs.
So did I.
So like the first few sentences, it was just like really simple to do, but then the next ones, they were like big paragraphs. I was like, oh no, can I do this? But then it ended up going good. I think we took 3 takes of that, and then it went like smashingly. But yeah, then we got given our other scripts, which we'll be doing for next Tuesday.
Yeah. That's Fleabag, which is a comedy drama.
Yeah. I think the only reason why those like Tuesday afternoons sometimes take a bit longer is because obviously we're all working with like the Blackmagic camera setup and the vision mixer and the sound and stuff like that, and obviously even though we know how to do it, we haven't done it in a while, so it's that sort of getting back into the swing of it and learning. So but it gets better week by week. And then on the Wednesday morning we took one of the scenes out of This Is Gonna Hurt, and it was like almost a transition scene because it was a short comedy scene. So we wanted to just kind of figure out what sort of style we were going to do stuff in, or like what transitions would work for other things. So we had 2 mirrors which were kind of used as almost like the curtains in a hospital to like block off a bed. So we had River as a patient leaving, and then I started in the audience, because it kind of has that audience participation, because they're sat there looking like, well, why one of the actors sat next to me? And then Ruby like called my name and we swapped, and as I went in, the mirrors switched round, so it kind of showed like the curtain being open and closed, which is a good transition because one, it like allowed us to get to our places where I need to be, but also gave the audience something to watch so then they were still engaged.
Yeah. And then over the next like few days or so, I think we're gonna like take that scene and like just rehearse it a bit more and like get it to a good place, because like we mostly rehearse like the transition between and not really like the middle bit, so we want to like get that down a bit more, and then I think we're gonna like start back at the beginning and like get that beginning down, so then we can have like a beginning, something that we just have, and then potentially we'll start on the end as well, because we know what we're doing for the end.
Yeah, we've also chosen another scene with, well, it's kind of like a shift leader doctor. She's quite funny. It's like dry humour.
My favourite kind of humour.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Like and subscribe.
So we went to Newcastle Theatre Royal to watch a play of Pride and Prejudice, sort of. It was like a comedy version of it. And it was originally produced in like Edinburgh Fringe, which is obviously helpful for our project. And it's then transferred down to the West End. And so you can see like the success of it and how it started as something so small and now it's like this really big production. So it's really inspiring.
Yeah, it shows like that's something that we could do.
Yeah.
And then we were looking at like all the different techniques that they use, since we are like creating our own like retelling of something. So what I found like really useful was like looking at their multi-rolling, because it's literally like 5 of them and they play like all the characters in Pride and Prejudice. And like for us, I mean, there is a lot of us, but there's like a lot more characters we can play because it's a hospital. And there's so many different people, and it just shows like how like one simple piece of costume or changing your voice can like change your character completely, and how like easily you can do that.
Yeah, because when you looked at certain scenes, like there was one actor who I think was like a servant, one of like the richer men, and then also his sister at the same point, and it was like the same top, and they just like took on and off like this skirt, and even though it was in the same scene, they managed to like switch their characters so quickly that you'd forget that they were literally someone else 2 seconds ago.
You can just immediately tell that they're a different character.
They also, I like how they did the narration of it, in the sense of they had it as the 5 servants were almost, at the start it was almost like they were playing dress up, like playing this like role and showing us this story. And how they'd have, if they weren't an exact character, they'd be as like a servant helping the back, narrating the story, go along, which meant that they could have the characters almost as like the comedic moments, and then have the narration as so you know what's actually going on.
Yeah, it's like they get to break the fourth wall, which is sort of what like Adam does in This Is Going to Hurt. Like he, in the show especially, he talks to the camera. In the books he has brackets for when he's like talking to the audience, so that's like especially helpful for us.
Yeah, I also like how they used music, because I was thinking like it was going to be like just a play, no music. It was almost like a jukebox musical, in the sense that it had normal songs just in it at random points, and it made it funny but also more engaging. It shouldn't have made sense because it was Pride and Prejudice and it was like this like serious old like book, but it didn't, it worked, and it was really entertaining.
It was really good.
Yeah, and the play overall was really good, and it was a good trip. Yeah.
Else as well, like when they did like the modernization of it, because like I know we were talking before about like how it's this like whole serious play, and like I found it like really good, because like I mean some people might find it like more boring like the original. I mean it is, because it's like just a romance of like people, and I really liked how they added like stuff in, like references for like older people, and they made it more like for like younger people, because like I feel like we won't want to watch stuff like that usually, so it sort of like gets us to like learn a new story that we wouldn't normally watch.
I think it was good how like they added like modern slang or like swearing, so instead of being like no I don't want to like get with you, it was like F off. Which was good, because then like you didn't expect it, you like kind of walk in expecting it to be this really like put together posh little like romance story.
It sort of takes it away because you're so invested, and then somebody just like swears out of nowhere.
Like, oh okay.
And you're like, oh, we're here.
But then that also, I like how they took it away from like the naturalism of it, because it was certain parts it was kind of like natural, because they'd have like just 2 people talking, but then at other points they'd have like them all dancing around the room and being like drunk and stuff with like the Prosecco bottles.
When they were writing the letters, instead of them just standing there and writing out loud, they had like 2 people with microphones.
I like that was really good, because
and
it was
like
good
that
to watch.
had the spotlight on them, so you're watching them, and then they would have people like come into the spotlight and like sort of break them out of the woman. And then
I also liked how they changed the plot twists of it a little bit, because obviously in the original film it's more like it's probably not as dramatic as they made it, because obviously they have to make that distance for stage, so everything
Yeah.
was slightly more overdramatic. But they had that plot twist of Darcy's younger sister Georgiana, I think, getting abducted by a soldier, and like you hear that plot twist they talk about, and then you kind of like, oh, I'm over it, like next thing, and then all of a sudden the little sister comes running on, and she's like, oh, I've got married to the same soldier that, you know, but obviously she doesn't
Yeah.
know that plot twist, which is good because it's kind of like the audience knows something that
And
characters
it's
don't.
like in that Georgiana doesn't even show up, like not even as like one of the characters in the movie. She's like in it briefly, but she doesn't even show up, and they still like manage to like portray her character. And then
Yeah.
another thing, the dad as well.
The dad was so good because it was just like you just see a chair and then like smoke coming out the back of it.
Yeah, and like you sort of like get invested that this is the dad, and he just doesn't
Mhm.
speak. And then they roll the chair through the door, and it's like bam.
Bam, and you can just tell that it's not, but
Yeah.
then it's funny.
But then like it doesn't take away from it.
No,
It
not at
still
all.
like makes it good.
I think it's good for research going to actually see the like shows and stuff live, because as much as like you can research about, as much like on the Monday when we were researching about like an adaptation
Yeah.
or something, some people were doing like Pride and Prejudice, but then like you can research it and read about it,
Yeah.
but
You can only read so much.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
everything- Not everyone posts things about it, and you can only find like reviews, and obviously that has a bias on like their opinion.
exactly, but when you actually go and watch it, you like see it all happening, how it's done in different
Mhm.
ways. Like, oh, I didn't think that would necessarily work, but it really does.
Yeah.
And it's good to see different views, because then you think about, oh, with our work, why don't we play around with
Yeah,
it
we
more
can,
and like
we
look
can
at different
take that back
aspects?
to like the multi-role and stuff that
Yeah.
we took away from that we can use for ours.
Yeah.